Last year, we built the world's first Hellephant swapped Supra. And we did it with one goal in mind, to run our first 7-second quarter mile. There were trials, there were definitely errors, but on the last track day of the year, we finally managed to get it done. Yes! Now though, it's time for a new challenge, something that should push us even harder than last year. We are gonna take on Sick Week. 5 tracks, 900 miles, 1 week, and of course the kicker to any drag and drive, you can't trailer the car. We're limited only to what we can keep inside of it or tow behind it. And considering we put like 10 street miles on this thing since it's been built, yeah. But it's all right, we got a list. Now, the first thing on the agenda here is our Supercharger. In the last season, we cracked it open. It was a little bit worse for the wear. So we're gonna yank this thing off here. We'll send it down the Whipple, have them go through it, make a few updates. That way we'll have a nice new blower, and that should mean it's one thing at least that we won't have to worry about on this whole ordeal. Now, if you're wondering why there's a pink bolt in the front of the blower snout there, well, you remember at the end of last year when the belt came flying off on the last pass? Man, the very next time we started up with a new belt on it, the whole pulley assembly came off. Not just the pulley, it didn't come unbolted. The pulley and the hub just... From Whipple, there's not a bolt in there, it's just a spline press fit. So I don't know if this thing started coming loose and that's what caused our belt to throw at the end of last year, or the fact that the belt came off, maybe started ripping that off too. Who knows? Also, you gotta send these injectors out to be clean. They've done us well for about a year now, but after sitting with E85 in it for so long, couldn't hurt, right? So we're not gonna get super far into this engine, but one thing I wanted to do, based on something we saw on that Demon engine we pulled out recently, is check our rods. You know what I mean? Ooh. So the motor that came out of the OG Demon, it went to the Trackhawk, it had a slightly bent push rod. It didn't make it into
slightly?
It's still around here, we can prove it.
You call that slightly bent?
Yeah.
Look at this. Slightly bent.
This is a slightly bent push rod. Anyway, we determined what may have caused that was banging the limiter a little too much. And if the Demon has been on the limiter, this thing has really been on the limiter at much higher RPM. But everyone here looks straight. One of these I think has a little bit to it maybe.
Like you can rock it back and forth.
Yeah, but is that even enough to matter?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
And if you spin it a certain way, then it's in the center.
Give it that.
See?
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. This might be like replace a push rod set every season. Same shit, yeah.
Same shit. It's just the manufacturing.
That makes sense. So the good part about using missized push rods and a custom set is that we had to get 2 full sets of push rods for this, meaning we had 16 of each size, we only needed 8. So we do have a full spare set of push rods should something ever go bad with these.
We should take them with us to Florida.
We're gonna keep these rods in the bag for now, but we'll bring them. I thought for sure that being at the top of a drag strip at like 8,000 plus RPMs and banging the limiter, we were gonna have the same issue here. Luckily we do not. Now let's do the one test that I'm always a little scared to do, especially on a race car, a leak down. Dun, dun, dun. So these numbers are going to be a little bit higher than like a nice factory engine would be because the engine built for boost. It's a race engine. It's supposed to be a little looser. So anything under 20, I'd say, I'm happy, especially on a cold engine. It's a little higher, right?
No, it's good.
I mean, I hear it coming out past the range.
You know what that means? Opportunity for more boost.
Exactly.
That's
We're
all
going to fill
I
that
see,
space with heat and boost.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is going to seal the rings.
Exactly.
100%.
It's in the green.
He's doubling it.
It's in the green.
Perfect.
It's in the money.
All right. Speaking of money, how about those spark plugs?
That's some money right there.
We got to talk about spark plugs. So this honestly might be one of the most ignorant things I've ever done. But I feel like, as has been the case with most stuff here, we're going to listen to people who probably know better than us. We don't really know how this car is going to act, right? On pump gas, street driving, all the switching fuels around, the fact that we're going to be on the road and these spark plugs aren't readily available. We decided to stock up, per the advice of the guys from Big 3, on a set of street plugs and a set of race plugs for all 5 days. Now, are we going to need these? I really hope not. And of course, we don't use these things now. We obviously will at some point, given all the Hellcat powered stuff we have around the shop. So that's definitely a silver lining. They will get used. But all in, this stack, this mountain of spark plugs ran us $1,200, and that is sickening. What's the old saying? Rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them. One other thing they require for these events, and rightfully so, is a belly pan. This way, if you scatter your motor, you don't screw up the track for 2 hours for everybody else. When I bought this car, it already came with a belly pan, being that he was racing it competitively. It was one big long assembly that came all the way back to about here. Of course, that was designed when the car was running a 2JZ with the exhaust coming up out of the hood, so we had to hack this part off, and we're gonna have to redesign the entire backside.
Oh, I'm gonna cut where it says cut. Cut, cut, cut. And then...
That sounds like a solid plan. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Don't hurt yourself.
Don't hurt yourself.
Oh, that's a perfect fit. I mean, you can still see like a little bit of the pin out, but it covers a bulk of the transmission, and unfortunately due to the header design, we don't really have an option to go much wider than that. Let's hope this is just for visual purposes only. We don't want to use this, but it's there in case.
It's like insurance.
One thing we're gonna have to do at this event quite a few times is swap out our gas. We're gonna need to change from ethanol to pump gas.
Not bad.
That's actually not bad. It went way worse last time. But we're not gonna have the room for a 5-gallon bucket under the car. It's more than likely just gonna be a series of drains into like a 1 or 2 gallon drain pan, which we'll then dump into a bucket. And having to fumble that plug in and out every time just seems, what's the word I'm looking for, Fernando? Stupid. It seems dumb. So,
Yeah.
so now we just come under here. That's not bad, right? All right.
What about if somebody just at night randomly go to your tank and drain
Could you
everything?
imagine? Now, one thing that figures to be a little bit bigger of an issue than just how we're draining our fuel, and honestly seems like the #1 thing that tends to trip people up during drag and drives, is cooling. After all, this is a drag race front bumper. It has one hole and one hole only. The side vents, they're blocked off. And that might be a problem. Point of this bumper is just to be as aerodynamic as possible. After all, you don't have to worry about cooling that much if you're just doing quarter-mile drag racing. But now that we're doing a drag and drive, cooling's kind of jumped to the top of the list of things we do have to worry about. So the fact that our oil cooler's over here and our trans cooler's over here and it is getting exactly 0 airflow might be an issue. If it's at all possible, I'd love to not have to hack holes into this carbon fiber bumper and kind of recreate the stock brake ducts. So what we've done is added 8-inch fans to the back of our coolers, so it'll at least give us some flow. We've added a switch to our switch panel here that we haven't labeled it yet. When we press that, we got fans. Now, looking at that, doesn't really look like that much airflow. It feels more impressive than it looks via rag here. Plus, both these coolers are pretty oversized for the engine and trans combo we have, so we got that working in our favor too. Either way, I really hope Plan A works, because Plan B, which would likely be executed on the side of some Florida highway, ain't gonna be pretty. But we are gonna bring it, just in case. How much time we have? Like 3.5 weeks?
Something like
Maybe
that.
even a little more. We are less than a week out now, and things are getting tight. One of the biggest things I was worried about was, are we gonna get the Supercharger back on time? We had kind of a narrow window to hit between PRI and all the other stuff we're doing, and sick week. So when we sent the blower out to them and they said, hey, your housing's jacked up too, you're gonna need basically an entire new blower, we were kind of in a pinch. They said it wasn't a problem to get us one. They were still gonna take care of everything. They said if we wanted it in orange, that was gonna add another week. And another week we don't have at this point. So we are now rocking with a black Supercharger, which does look pretty awesome. Sure, it's not as bright, sure, it doesn't stand out as much, but I kind of dig it. Maybe in the future we'll take it off, do some kind of design on it, powder coat it, I don't know. Either way, there's no time to worry about that now. We just got to throw it on. And one thing I noticed that I wasn't aware of prior to them sending this here is that this is a slightly different design lid, I guess. Yeah, look. New and improved design, more ribs.
Upgrade.
For your pleasure. Got our injectors back too, all nice and clean from Cleveland Injector Clinic, ready for another season of just absolute abuse.
It's probably too soon, but that looks way cooler.
Cooler?
Yes.
It does look.
I was thinking it didn't quite hit like the orange. Let's
No,
see.
well, look at that.
That does look pretty slick. Not as slick as Tim getting out of that thing, you know what? I actually like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It looks more demonic.
It does. How many starts do you think it takes to get it actually started? This is a cold start. This is, by definition, a cold start, even inside.
How many starts to get it started?
How many starts to get it started? How many tries?
3.
I like that. Sounds about right.
That's 1. 4. 5.
6. How we looking, Chief? Give her a little. Uno más. Good. Right where we left off. Woo! Shoo! Well, it sounds like she's supposed to. Hey, this list is really coming down to the end here. We got it running again. Not that it shouldn't run perfectly fine. This was just a blower swap, but you just never know. You gotta test it. So that's one more thing we can just, Now, Whipple said they made some revisions on this blower compared to the last one that should hopefully help it hold up a little bit longer. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but one thing I noticed for sure compared to the last one, and I'm not sure if I even mentioned it in that first video where we started playing around with this blower and we put the engine together, but when you would spin that last one, you would feel at certain part in the rotation, it would be harder to spin. I don't want to say it felt like it was locking up, but there was definitely some resistance, some metallic feel to it. I don't know exactly what was causing that back then. Once we got it running, it seemed to go away. It seemed to work fine. And eventually when you pulled the belt back off, it didn't have that lockup point anymore. I don't know.
This one also doesn't seem to rattle as much.
It's true. That is true. I couldn't ever tell if that was just the blower, the tensioner, or a combo between the two, but yeah, this one's quieter for sure.
I think it's a little bit of everything. And like you said, a revision maybe.
Now luckily, because the drivetrain was pretty much sorted out last season, there's really not much else we have to do to it. The only change we're gonna make for the street driving portion of this is we're gonna jam an air filter on the end of the throttle body here instead of running that velocity step. We got this little guy here that's also gonna protect us from rain, I hope. I mean, I don't know how these things hold up like a torrential downpour like you tend to get in Florida sometimes.
I don't think they do.
Well, we're gonna find out. We are actually in the process of having a hood built for this thing. It's gonna be awesome, but it won't be here anywhere near in time for this event. So for now, the only thing that's gonna be standing in between our engine and sucking up a rock or a bird or a freaking alligator, I don't know what you guys have down there in Florida, is this filter and a little outerwear that goes on it. Now onto the interior. And I think we can kind of break this down into 2 different categories. Number 1, safety, because that's paramount when you're driving a 7-second car attached to a trailer on the street. And then there's the luxury category, the amenities, if you will. I'm gonna turn this puppy into a Rolls Royce, just wait. Should clarify, I guess, the safety category is comprised almost entirely of things that are absolutely 100% required in the 6-week rulebook to be able to enter the event. First and foremost, we got the horn. That button don't work, we never wired it up properly, but we put one on here. We got one single horn off a Honda S2000 and obviously it's the high one, but it does work, so we got that scratched off the list. Now the other thing that we're required to have is a rear view mirror. For that, we're gonna use some Ford parts. There's not really anywhere to mount a rear view mirror in this thing, so we're gonna have to do it the, how do we even say this? The creative way. The creative way. That's about right. So what we're gonna do here is build ourselves some custom mounting brackets.
Brackets.
Technically, I think in the rawest definition, this is a bracket.
Okay.
Make sure it fits nice and tight. Yeah.
Is you wearing that around your neck?
Actually, yeah, we should have just done one of like the visors with the fucking review on it. Of course, don't want this to look like an unfinished install, so we'll hack off the tag ends of the zip ties. Oh yeah, I can definitely see out of that. Definitely, I can see it. Okay?
Not a chance.
This is the pinnacle of safety. I mean, not having a rear view mirror in your race car with a funny car cage above your head, that's like traveling and using sketchy Wi-Fi networks without the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN. You know, some threats are more obvious than others. Like if you pull up to your Airbnb and the AC unit's chained down outside. Digital threats, though, they're a little harder to recognize, and that's why when I'm traveling, I turn NordVPN on every single time. My internet traffic's encrypted, they don't track or share what I'm doing, and if Wi-Fi drops or something weird's going on, Kill Switch makes sure nothing leaks. Plus, Threat Protection Pro actively blocks fake websites, phishing attempts, sketchy ads, and even malware downloads before they touch your device. You don't even have to be connected to a VPN server, it's just running in the background all the time. Plus, NordVPN lets you keep all the subscriptions you already paid for back home fast and smooth. There's no lag, no buffering. It's one of the fastest VPNs out there. One account protects up to 10 devices, and if something goes sideways, they got 24/7 support. Now, if you're ready to try out NordVPN, click the link down in the description or go to nordvpn.com/ScrapLife. You're gonna get an exclusive deal, 4 months extra, plus there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is literally zero risk. Now, the other thing that could be considered safety isn't technically in the rule book, but in the interest of not burning our faces off should this thing catch on fire or having to watch the car turn into the OG demon, it's probably a smart decision to add it. Probably stupid that we didn't have one of these in here before. We're overdue to do some type of fire suppression system, not just a fire extinguisher. We didn't get around to that before this event, so the least we can do is put an actual fire extinguisher in the car. That's exactly what I'm gonna look like when I'm putting out a fire in the engine bay of this thing, you know? I'm gonna have that same, like, yeah, it's gonna be me.
What brand fire extinguisher is that?
Did you really have to ask that?
Yeah.
Oogist.
Oh.
Where do you think this was made?
Yeah. Overseas.
The overseas handle press.
Oh, God.
Now it's got this little quick release setup on it. Slide the extinguisher in. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. I thought that was gonna be a tighter fit. I don't really know what I expected, but I do feel like that is a lot of play out of a quick release. Either way, it's in the name of safety, so we're definitely gonna deal with it. Plus, we're gonna make this cabin so freaking luxurious that it's really not gonna matter that everything's rattling around in the trunk. Now, I know there's a lot that sticks out in this interior is not that luxurious, right? There's no carpet, there's barely any interior, and of course there's a roll cage. But if there's one single thing that might be the most annoying on a close to 1,000-mile drive in a freaking race car, it might be the metal seats. So we've decided to get some seat covers to go over top of them, just like you'd find in any Lamborghini, Ferrari, BMW.
Couldn't spring for the podiums, huh?
No, no podiums in this one. We put the carbon fiber bucket seats in the truck, not this, which, saying it out loud, sounds very stupid. Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel it, but does it look luxurious? And like I have a lot of amenities?
No.
Well, that's a shame because this concludes the luxury and amenity segment of this video. Yeah, this is all we're doing, but, you know, it's a race car. I lied. We also did a power inverter, wired it into the PMU. That way in case we need to charge a laptop or really anything else, phones, whatever, we got it. Yeah, trailer delivery service, baby.
I don't know if the Supra's gonna handle this though.
How's she tow?
Jumpy.
I mean, it's so tiny, of course it's gonna be jumpy. Look at this thing. It is honestly kind of comical. This time, I figured instead of bargain basement shopping on Marketplace or whatever, trying to find a used one for like $2 grand, we just pony up, we splurge a little bit and get ourselves a brand new one for $3 grand. That way we don't have to get it through inspection, we don't have to do any repairs to it. It's just ready to go as soon as we outfit it. I don't know why it's so funny to me to see a trailer doing this. If I'm pulling it, the Supra shouldn't have any issue, right?
Not a problem at all.
I assume like most people, when you go to tow a trailer with a race car, that's the biggest concern, right? Like, what kind of strain is that gonna put on the car? And this gives me like a little more confidence. A little. Oh my God, oh, the orange Rhino. You know, being that it's behind the rear bumper and all, it's almost easy to forget about the marvel of engineering that is the orange Rhino.
Marvel of engineering. Wow.
It is a marvel.
That's one way to put it.
I mean, we are gonna have to relocate it a little bit because this hitch is gonna use these rear bumper beam pedestals right there. I almost feel this is unfair as a first test for a new bandsaw.
This is the heaviest piece of steel that
we've ever touched. Yes, exactly. So we just went hog wild at Harbor Freight with a new vertical bandsaw and a new horizontal bandsaw. And yeah, it's going through the ringer right away. So I guess we're really gonna know what this thing can do. There ain't nothing like having new tools, is there? It's so sick.
I think I'm in love.
That is unreal. That is unreal. This is the first nice bandsaw we've ever had. And of course, now we have 2 of them. That's sick.
That's really good.
That is sick.
This piece is longer. That should clear the bottom of the bumper. I think, according to my math.
We'll see if that checks out in 2 seconds when we drill a giant hole in that thing. But
Yep.
yeah.
And then this sleeve with some plug welds in it also. We'll go over there. That'll go there. That'll get all welded together. That line represents where the hitch line needs to be. So that'll get chopped. And then the receiver welded to that.
That's clean. All right, that worked out way better than I thought it was gonna. That looks like it's supposed to be there, doesn't it?
We talk about perfect measurement.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I can see it now. The trailer just hanging off the back of it, looking real slick, and then this whole thing just going like that.
So all the weight is gonna be in that pin though?
What pin?
The pin that is crossing, holding that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's no different than you towing. Like, it's your truck's the same way.
And it's solid.
Yeah. There goes the pin. One point of conflict that is obviously going to come into play is that we're going to have to. Yeah, that'll work for now. Through?
Yep.
Sound like it?
You know what you're doing?
No.
I mean, just don't hit the Supra. Whoa! Wow.
Well, this looks weird. Really weird. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know what I expected it to look like, but
Honestly,
it's so weird. Like,
from this angle, it matched the paint. Look at it.
it kind of does. Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool.
That looks cool.
It feels so. I can't, like, it doesn't compute, right? That's probably good.
Wow.
All right, well, it's attached. It's doing its thing. Now we just have to go through and outfit this so everything's not. I almost whipped that door open because I didn't realize it was going up there.
He's gonna hit.
I'm sure it's going to fill up fast, but at least right now, it looks like we do have a decent bit of space to work with, 4x6, and I've ordered a couple things that should really help us get squared away on the organizational front, so I think we should be able to get it kitted out pretty well. People do drag and drives all the time. They have trailers that are rigged out to the hilt. They have solar panels, generators, awnings coming off the side of them. That ain't going to be us, at least not this time. We're doing the one-day prep package here. This guy here is going to let us store 3 VP fuel cans without having to slide all around. One of the really cool things they do at these events is they have the VP Racing fuel truck there for every single day of it. Meaning that we're not going to have to worry about how we're going to source E85, or in this case, X85, I believe it is. But every morning after a 93 octane pump gas drive for the night before, we're going to have to drain all that out, and we need somewhere to put it.
That sounds expensive.
There is nothing cheap about this. This whole time has been absurdly expensive.
Oh.
Hey, see how it works now?
Ah.
Yeah, we got ourselves this nice aluminum jack here. Trying to keep the weight down as much as possible. So we did aluminum jack. We got some aluminum jack stands as well. And this is going to go just like this. And that'll stop it from flying around, rolling around, doing anything weird.
That's fancy though.
It is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
One thing we're sorely lacking in this whole trailer setup is a workspace. So we got this whole fold down joint here, which should do us fine up to 50 pounds. And if we have to remove something that is greater than 50 pounds, we are probably in a world of trouble anyway. So
It's a little tall.
I got a few more to put in. No, but this is regular height. What do you mean?
Yeah.
This is taller than this, which is, this is, do you not understand like what counter height is?
Yeah, I do. This is... one thing we definitely did before we put this on is made sure that the door closes still. So just to confirm once more that the door closes. Oh yeah, we're plenty clear, that's fine. But we already knew that because we definitely tested it. Also order one of these guys here. We can keep our like brake clean, degreaser, whatever else we need to. That is so perfect. We got a plug rack.
To be legal, we obviously need lights on our trailer because this is all just a very legal thing, right? Wire in this little converter box, which converts all this lighting into all that lighting, and hopefully it all works.
You don't sound too confident.
Well, you know, rendition number 1 ended here. This is rendition number 2. So, you know. That works.
Okay.
Okay. Remember that side's wonky.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay.
Hey!
Signal's good?
Yes.
Alright.
Headlights.
Woo!
Yep. Trailer lights work.
She's lit up. Where's hazards? Hazards obviously work.
Yep.
And then we got brake lights, right? Turn the
Yep.
brake lights on.
Perfect.
Brake lights.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. We're good, right?
We're good.
Gucci.
Legal as can be. Now the wait starts. Now the real wait starts.
You should take that out of the box. Just say a couple pounds. That many though?
Rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them, right?
I'm happy to bring them back.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're bringing most of this back. I mean, I hope we're bringing most of this back. We got 6 oil filters, 2 oil changes, a trans oil change, and a rear end fluid change. Though hopefully we don't need anything for the rear or trans. That would just be not a good time. If that happens, something went wrong. We got a spare radiator fan just in case one eats it. We got a spare. What is this? I order so much stuff I forget what it is at this point. Accessory belt tensioner, along with all the idlers on the engine. This is the important tensioner. We kind of went back and forth on this one. This is the blower belt tensioner. We're going to order another aftermarket one like we have on the car now, but we already had this laying around, and I don't want to spend another $400, so we decided to cheap out on this. Let's hope that doesn't bite us.
Okay.
We aren't taking any chances after what happened last year. If we break a belt, we got plenty more on deck. I think we're pretty much wiped on this bin. A couple spare fuel filters, some coil packs. What we got here?
Brake pads.
New TBM brake pads. The push rods from earlier that I really hope we don't have to use. Holly coil drivers here. We should probably clean out the spare sensors out of the toolbox and just every spare sensor we have in the shop, any pressure sensor, just in case.
Oh, that looks similar.
Yeah.
I've been through a couple of those.
So we got ourselves a spare alternator as well. We've had good luck with these, but Fernando has ate one up. To be fair though, he drives his car on the street a little bit more, so maybe it's just foreshadowing. Maybe we're gonna learn from Fernando's mistakes, right? Got some ratchet straps, a funnel, got a Milwaukee charger in there too, I guess. Gotta bring a spare bypass. We got our velocity stack. I guess that can go in this bin for now. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, nice little stack.
It looks legit now.
Does the car cover fit up there too?
Ooh.
So my logic here is light tools on top and tools that we're going to need all the time on top.
Okay.
Heavy tools on the bottom. Hopefully we don't use them as often. So in here, everything we need to change spark plugs in one bin. So I think that's going to happen a lot. Wiring stuff. Hopefully we don't need it, but it's light. And wrenches. Also light. Probably use those often. Heavy duty stuff in the bottom. Stuff that weighs the most. Fernando, you fit at the bottom or no?
Probably. It looks like it.
Yeah, I haven't figured out, besides like the nicely foam packed drawers where you have a spot for every single tool, I haven't figured out a good way to pack all the sockets and wrenches and screwdrivers and everything hopefully we don't need, but need to bring, is all just in one bin. Not heavy?
No, it's not bad. That's nice. That worked out well.
Really nice.
And then we got this like little milk crate looking thing that straps down on top of it. That's, I guess, why not? And we really have no business putting an extra set of wheels in here right now, being that the tires are all jacked up and we're going to need to replace them tomorrow. But before those tires come in, we're going to try to do this whole test drive thing. And I want to have as much weight as possible in here to get kind of a realistic expectation of how this is all going to go. And our last bit of weight here is the scooter.
They're not gonna fit though.
They're gonna fit. That's not a question. They're gonna fit.
Yeah, quick, close the door.
Yeah. This is a jam the door shut situation. Temperature to do this first test drive in. I don't know exactly what it would be, but I'm positive it wouldn't be 9 degrees. Is that a Whipple? Yeah, it is a Whipple. So this is going to be hard to see, probably even harder to hear. Right now, our temperature, our water temp, it's rising up pretty good.
Fans over current, not sure why. Change the settings in the PMU to continuously retry forever to turn them back on again, so long as they stay under their specified current level.
And just like that, temp's coming back down.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh man, I ain't gonna say it's comfortable, but it was definitely warmer than I thought. It was really not that bad in there, and the car did freaking awesome. Man, we only had one little issue, and that was the radiator fans going over current. So when the PMU said the radiator fans had to stop working, temperatures went up to like 210 degrees, which is kind of wild given how cold it is out here. But I guess even with these temperatures, you need those fans on or she's gonna heat up a little bit. If it did 210 here in Maryland, I can only assume it would get a lot hotter than that down in Florida. On a scale of 1 to 10. You thought this was gonna be bad, right?
Honestly, solid 9.5.
It's like really good.
Zero issues, drives great. It's pretty warm in there, actually.
How'd she look?
It looks pretty good.
It's got to, right?
Really good. It looks cool.
One thing I was pleasantly surprised with is our cruise speed. It looks like we're gonna be able to go like 60 to 65 miles an hour. That feels like we're in our comfort zone. That's gonna put us like 2,500 to 2,800 RPMs, which doesn't feel like you're ragging the car out. We can go a little faster. I think the car will probably take it.
I saw a couple of times just doing like, I was like, oh,
only on the ice, which we at least will not have to deal with this in Florida. Overall, I really am pretty happy with the way this first drive at least turned out. The trailer feels good. You feel the weight in the car, but it's not anything unbearable. I think we got it loaded properly. It's not light in the front. You don't feel it riding up and down on the trailer ball. It's not doing that whole this thing across the road. It feels solid.
Not really.
What do you mean?
We're missing the trailer.
We made it. It's fine.
No.
It's fine. How's she look? Nice and dry, right? We got, what, 1, a little dab of maybe oil. It's possible that might have been on there before, honestly. Go ahead, check how these fluids held up to our first street drive. Oh, there's
Hold on.
What?
You think we're gonna see any metal?
Why you always gotta do that?
I'm asking.
No, we're not gonna see any metal.
I'm curious
The
about.
only metal we're gonna see is the drain plug, okay?
Okay.
Can't believe you.
The metal on the drain plug. Dirt though.
It's not so much dirty as it is just like a little thin and ethanol-y. Like, it's very hot.
Careful, it's hot.
Yeah. That's very red. Oh man, that looks so clean.
Wow.
Again, not that it really should, and that's what it's supposed to look like, but you just never know when you're doing what we do with this car.
That's pretty
A
good.
little sludge, a little metallic, nothing crazy. That's like perfectly normal for a transmission like this. One small but hopefully useful change we're gonna make is we're gonna delete our transmission cooler thermostat. This kicks on at either 170 or 185 degrees, and clearly this is something we're gonna have to manage throughout this trip, given the trans temps on this first drive in the cold. So we're just gonna straight bypass it. When we go back to drag mode, we'll go ahead and put the cooler back on because we don't want to struggle with getting it up to temp in the pits, but something tells me that low temps aren't going to be the issue here.
Oops.
All right, well, we've learned something today, right? There we go. I think we've done this. We've managed to get everything done. Ran around the car last night, put some new tires on it. We got ourselves some real streety looking Mickey Thompsons, kind of like a flame pattern type deal. We'll put these on for the street drives, and then we'll have a new set of sticky ones on for the track.
I know you love that tire.
I don't know, it reminds me of something you'd see about this wide on a tubbed out like old Firebird that makes 300 horsepower. It just sounds really loud, so I don't know if I love it, but it'll work. When'd you gap your first spark plug?
Like today so far, like
Today was the first time you've ever got the spark plug, to be clear, right?
But today's my very first day.
You're gonna be a pro now. You know what you're doing, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're never going to want to gap another spark plug again.
No.
Are you sure we're gonna need those?
I hope we don't.
That's just one of those things. We're gonna bring those even though they're shot in case we have a blowout on the new skinnies. You can't just go to Mr. Tire or whatever tire chain they have down there and get a skinny tire. We'd have to bring them the old ones and they can swap them on for us, which again, hopefully we don't have to do. I'm really hoping we don't have to get in there and get like that one small little part we forgot like 10 miles into the trip, but. Well, this has been a very fun exercise and doing something we've never done before. I suppose that about does it. So we will see you guys on the main channel in Florida in a couple days.
Adios!